Okay, in the last class we saw that living things are made up of cells and they perform three vital functions: nutrition, interaction, and reproduction. That's right. And we classify them in 5 kingdoms: Monera, protists, fungi, animal, and plants. And nowadays you are hearing of viruses, okay? And viruses, okay? And you would say viruses is like a living thing, no? Yeah, it's a living thing. It can kill us. It's like it moves. It's alive. It's alive. Okay, and where are viruses? Why are they not? They are not here. Why? Okay. If we take into account that living things are made up of cells and they perform three vital functions, we should say that viruses are not living things. Okay? Because viruses are not made up of cells and they cannot perform the three vital functions. Okay, that's right. So, now, what is a virus? If we take a look into a cell, okay, we know that a cell is made up of a cell membrane, okay? It can have a cell wall and a capsule, okay, but basically it's made up of a membrane. That membrane separates the outside from the inside, and it is made of lipids. It's fat. Why? You know that fat cannot be dissolved in water. So if fat cannot be dissolved in water and we put a drop of fat in water, it won't dissolve. So it can separate, okay, the outside from the inside. Okay, all membranes are made of fat or lipids. Now, inside the cell, we are going to find DNA. This is a prokaryotic cell. We could have a eukaryotic cell, which is more complex, and the DNA is inside the nucleus. It's protected by the nucleus, and it has a lot of organelles for performing vital functions. This one is a prokaryotic cells, which is more simple. So I'm trying to draw the more simple cell, the simplest cells in the world. Now, this cell have ribosomes. Ribosomes synthesize proteins, okay? And I told you that they perform three vital functions. They can divide, okay? And they perform reproduction by dividing themselves, okay? Before dividing, they have to multiply their DNA, okay? They multiply it, they copy a DNA, and they make another copy of DNA, and then they divide into two cells. This is asexual reproduction, but it is reproduction. We had one cell, and now we have two cells. Also, these cells, bacteria, feed. They feed off something, okay? So they perform nutrition. Bacteria can be autotrophic or heterotrophic, okay? They can perform photosynthesis also. Some of them, not all. And some of them are heterotrophic. They feed off something. And they interact, okay? They interact and they can perform reproduction, okay? So this is a living thing. Clearly, it's a living thing. And it's made up of one cell, okay? It's a cell. It has a membrane, cytoplasm, and the DNA. And it has organelles for performing these three vital functions. Okay, that's perfect. Now, what is a virus? A virus has a cell membrane. No, not cell membrane. Has a membrane, okay, made of lipids. Okay, this is too big for being a virus, okay? If this is a cell, this is a virus, okay? I'm going to draw it bigger but it would be like this. So a virus is made of a membrane or a capsule made of fat or lipids also, okay? It's like a tiny drop of fat, okay? And inside it has a little portion of DNA or RNA. It depends on the virus. But here is the genetic material, and it is a little portion, okay? Because it's so simple. This is a virus, okay? Imagine a short piece of DNA inside a drop of fat. That's it. A virus. This virus doesn't perform any one of those vital functions, okay? It doesn't perform it. And also, this is not a cell. Why? Because a cell have organelles for performing this, okay? And this is not. This is one of the simple things in the world. Now, you could say, they multiply, okay? They reproduce. How do they do it? It's so simple. Viruses don't feed off nothing, okay? This drop of fat with a short piece of DNA inside doesn't feed off anything. It doesn't feed. So what is he going to do? When he enters into our body, okay, this fat is going to fuse, okay, it's going to fuse with the cell membrane. If the virus, this is the virus, comes here, and the fat is going to fuse with this. And it's going to happen something like this. It fuses. Okay? And the DNA, or the nucleic acid, it could be DNA or RNA, is going to enter in the cell. It's going to be here. Okay? And what is going to happen? That this DNA is going to be absorbed by our DNA. And the cell is going to be like, it's like a virus, an informatic virus acts like this. They send you a command to your computer, and your computer is going to perform that command, okay? So this is the same. This is the information of the virus, and it's going to be inserted here. And the cell is going to read this information and is going to perform the command it says. So the cell, our cells, are going to read this, and they are going to say, oh, we have to make copies of this, and they make copies. They make copies. A lot of copies, yes, because our cells perform their work. Okay? And now they have to make another thing. They have to make if it has, sometimes they have proteins in their capsule, okay? Proteins attached there, okay? That's why they call them coronaviruses, because the corona, this is like a corona, and those are proteins that are attached there, okay? And they have nothing else, okay? This is a quite more complex virus, but it's only because it has proteins. So now the cell is going to read that information and is going to make proteins. This cell is going to make proteins, and also is going to create lipids. And now we find a cell full of parts of the virus, okay? And what's going to happen when these lipids touch this DNA? They are going to take it inside, okay? It's like if we put a drop if you put a drop of oil and another drop of oil, and when they touch, they fuse together. They fuse. It's the same, okay, with the DNA and these drops of fat. And when they are fused together, what is going to happen? They are going to leave the cell as they enter, okay? They get out to the cell. Even if there's no drop, this DNA can get out because it's going to fuse with the cell membrane. And they get out. Now we have viruses outside. They are getting out. Are them harming the cell? No, they are not harming the cell when they are getting out, okay? Not actually, but it's going to happen something. The cell is going to finish exhausted because it's working for the virus, making new viruses, okay? And the cell is going to get exhausted and the cell die, okay? That's what happens when a virus infects us. And now the cell die, and we have a lot of viruses. These viruses are not made up of cells. They are a drop of they are not made up of cells. They are a drop of fat, okay, or lipid, with some proteins attached, and they have the DNA or RNA, the nucleic acid, inside them. They don't perform nutrition. They don't feed of anything. They don't interact. Well, we could say that they interact because our cells can recognize them, but are our cells the ones who recognize them, okay? And they can't reproduce on their own. It's our cells are the ones who reproduce them, okay? So viruses are not living things. And now something really important. Everybody's saying that you have to wash your hands with soap, and wash the urine at least 20 seconds for making foam, okay? Why? It's so simple. Bacteria and viruses are made of a membrane which is made of fat. And what is going to happen when you put soap into the fat? That the fat is going to dissolve, because the fat never dissolves in water. If you put oil in water, it doesn't dissolve. Okay? But if you add soap, it will dissolve. So when you add soap to this, you are going to destroy the membrane. Okay? And this DNA is going to be outside. And when the DNA is outside, here, it's going to be broken down because of the heat, or because of the heat, or because of the light breaks down the DNA. Okay? And that's why we can kill a virus doing this. Okay? And the last thing, we shouldn't take antibiotics for killing viruses. Why? Antibiotics kill bacteria. Okay? Antibiotics only kill bacteria. Okay? If a protein enters your body, you won't kill them with antibiotics. Or a fungi, impossible. An animal, do you kill yourself when you take antibiotics? No. And a plant? No. Antibiotics only kill bacteria. And if you take antibiotics for killing this, you are not going to kill it. Okay? So this is all, and I hope you have no doubt about this. If you have any doubt, you can ask it. Okay? See you next class.